but I'll give you a quick take. There's only one reason that President Biden would say this doesn't cross the red line, because he's got no power to make it stop. Now, first, I want to bring in John Spencer, all right, one of the foremost experts on urban warfare, recently returned from Gaza, so he's got fresh eyes, okay? It's good to see you, brother. Also, Arwa Damon, my friend, former senior international correspondent for CNN, founder of INARA, I-N-A-R-A. If you want to help, okay, do some more walk for your talk and go donate to INARA like we did here with the money for the free agent gear that I'm selling, which is why I'm selling it, okay? She has also been there recently. So thank you both. Arwa, thank you especially for being up in the middle of the night where you are. Now, what do you make of the Biden determination that Rafah is okay, and what do you believe are the stakes on the ground?
Well, first of all, Rafah is far from okay, because you have tens of thousands of people that have had to move. You have this sheer and total panic that has spread everywhere. You also have the reality that in, the taking of the Rafah border crossing with Egypt by the IDF, no humanitarian aid entering, and has not, in fact, entered in the last 48 hours. And the fallout from that is going to be absolutely catastrophic. Add to that, Chris, the areas that people are being told to go to, one of them is basically a neighborhood that is little more than rubble right now. And the other is this area that is effectively beachfront, so lots of sand dunes, absolutely no infrastructure, already packed with tents. And it's causing this like emotional roller coaster where I was talking to a friend of mine in Rafah, actually, who had to evacuate. And she was basically comparing it to having, other people playing emotional ping pong with herself and all other citizens, civilians right now caught in all of this.
Arwa, a quick bounce question, then I want to get to John's take on what America's doing here and how much can it do. I keep complaining that a material mistake that the IDF, that Israel is making, is not letting people like you, not in an aid worker capacity, but as a journalist, on the ground. They say it's too dangerous, but that's what I watched you for years. Go to dangerous situations, more dangerous even than this. Do you believe that this is a major mistake by Israel? If so, what do you think should be done about it, and by whom?
Well, I mean, first of all, absolutely. Does Gaza need more journalists? Does it need eyes on the ground from every single outlet that exists there? Absolutely, 100%. But the danger excuse is always conveniently used by the Israelis and by other countries when they basically want to keep journalists from seeing what is actually transpiring on the ground. There has to be a much bigger push by networks, but also by governments to basically try to convince the Israelis to allow access to Gaza. But given that, a country like the US can't even get Israel to dial back on its offensive, it's not going to be likely that they're going to be able to convince Israel to allow, the press inside to cover what is actually happening. Because, Chris, you cannot go into Gaza and have the same understanding of what's happening, even if you're following minute by minute from the outside. Being in there, it just enhances your understanding to an entirely different level.
Yeah, that has to be true. And I think that Israel, John, to bring you into the conversation, and again, thanks, brother, it's good to have you here, and I want your perspective based on what you saw on the ground there. I think they're hurting themselves because there's so much propagandizing of material that does come out of Gaza that, I don't know how this is any worse than what it would be if you had people just showing what the reality is. What was your take on the ground? And let's start the conversation.
So, Chris, my take on the ground in Khan Yunis was the extreme difficulty that the IDF has faced against Hamas, using everything it can, to include, as recent as yesterday, attacking humanitarian ports and entryways, doing anything it can to push the narratives. But what I saw was an IDF fighting for not just for destroying the enemy, but for protecting civilians. And I saw it in ways that I didn't even think were possible in this kind of urban combat.
Do you think that the Israelis are conducting themselves the way America would in the same situation?
So that's a tricky question. Actually, the steps that Israel has taken to prevent civilians, I honestly believe and have shown through research, is more than the United States has ever taken in any battle, and especially in any war. I think the United States would have ended this already.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.